tips or forms. In this video, we will be going over the advantages and disadvantages of using both. I use both in the salon, and when you base the question of tips or forms on your clients, the correct answer is the option that will benefit the client the most. And in this video, I go over the scenarios that should ultimately determine your decision. Let's get to it. Alright, so let's get right into it. Nail tips versus nail forms. And just briefly, I'll tell you that you can use either or for nail biters. The great thing about nail tips is that they take the stress out of building nail lengths, right? And once glued, they're ready to go. You don't have to sculpt the tip or anything. And another advantage of nail tips is that the client cannot move them once they're glued, right? With nail forms, they hit them in the lamp and they move them all around. So that's two advantages of nail tips. And some disadvantages is that they require more steps to prep. With your form, you go ahead and apply your form, build your free edge, and you're done. With nail tips, you have to prep that nail tip. You have to fit it, you have to glue it, you have to blend it, you have to remove the shine. Another disadvantage is that you will need different sets of tips for different clients, right? Sometimes you'll need a square tip, sometimes you might need a stiletto tip, sometimes you might need a white tip, right? With forms, you don't need that. So those are some of the disadvantages. All right, so when you are sizing your nail tips, right, you want to make sure that your nail tips fit from side wall to side wall, especially if you're applying these on nail biters. And you see these nail tips here in this video have a deep smile line, right? So there's plenty of product that's going to be applied to the natural nail. So no longer do you have to worry about these tips with high or no smile line that cover half of the natural nail and therefore can snap off of natural nail wearers, right? Like nail biters. So they're definitely advanced now. So you can use either or, use whatever makes your service last the longest. If you're doing an almond nail, oval nail, just make sure that your nail tip is tipping down. And if you're doing a square nail, make sure that it's really, really straight. Okay. That means that your nail tip does not tip down. Also, when you're doing an oval nail, you'll want to clip these little wings here, right? This excess of the smile line. And that's because you're going to tip it down just a tad bit. So you don't want those kind of like flying all over and then having to file them off or cut them off. And then you accidentally pop that nail off when you're doing that, okay? So you apply pressure then in the center, you hold it, and then you focus on gluing down the wings. Again, if you're doing an almond, oval, anything that's not square, that nail tip can actually tip a little bit forward. Make sure you cover the corner ends of the natural nail there, those side walls, okay, that they fit and are flush with your plastic tip. All right. So to recap again, advantages of nail tips is that once they're glued, you're set, you're ready to go. You got the length that you want, you got the shape that you want. Your client cannot move them once they're glued, okay? So unlike forms, your client can kind of get a little bit finicky if she wants to. The disadvantages are that they require more steps to prep. You have to remove the shine, glue them on, shape them, cut them, blend them. Another disadvantage is that you will need different set of tips for different clients. You'll need square, almond, white, stiletto, all of that fun stuff or not so fun stuff, right? So with nail forms, you don't have that. You can actually use one set of nail forms for all of your clients, all right? So again, we'll take a look at these here. I'll leave them on the screen for you just to analyze. And again, it's one technique does not make you more professional than others. It's simply what you're able to provide to your client that's going to give them the longer wear. All right, so with forms, the advantages are that more product is attached to the natural nail, right? But again, that's no longer the truth if you have the correct nail tips, right? A lot of these new tips have a deep well or a deep smile line well. The other advantage is that the same type of forms can fit all clients, right? Again, we don't need different sets of tips for all of our clients. We can use one roll for all of our clients. The disadvantages is that they move, right? And with gel, the number one thing you have to ensure is that those forms do not move. Another disadvantage is that they're very hard to gauge in the beginning where to precisely adjust it to fit properly, right? So we need to cut there in the sidewall area to connect it to the natural nail. And that, as a beginner, one may struggle intensively trying to, fit it, cut the form correctly, all right? So my recommendation for that would be to just focus in the beginning, focus on just adjusting the hyponychium area. So just cutting a little bit of a sliver of that underneath skin area on the form, and I'll show you how to do that. But just start there. Later, as you start getting more advanced and you start watching more videos, more tutorials, then you can go ahead and make more modifications on this nail form. But again, the advantage is that you have all of this natural nail plate to apply product, and so really this nail should connect smoothly, seamlessly to the artificial nail, right? Whether you're using gel or any other medium, but as you know, we specialize in gel here. So here's the modification that you should just make on your nail forms. Most of your nail forms will need this little modification, okay? So you'll grab a very sharp pair of cuticle nipper scissors or just tiny little scissors, and you kind of want to cut an oval shape around that area. Now, I promise you that like about 80 to 90% of your clients, this is all the modification you're going to need just for a salon service. Of course, if you're doing competition nails, then you are going to have strong C curves, and the form has to fit very, very snug and all of that. But for salon services, this is all you need. Notice how just making this modification, how much smoother my form fits to my natural nail. And it nearly touches the corner sidewalls on my nails there. So it fits really flush. Now, I'll caution you, cutting it a little bit more might get you into a maze, right? Into a puzzle that you kind of wish you didn't get yourself into. But if you do, just give it a couple, they call it cat ears in a way, little slits there on the sides so that the form can fit just a little bit further in. All right, so to recap, nail forms have the advantage of you being able to apply the most amount of product onto the natural nail to then attach it to the enhancement, and you can use the same type of forms for all of your clients. Disadvantages, they move, right? And it's very hard in the beginning to gauge where to precisely adjust and cut the form. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you, subscribe to my channel for even more. And when you click the bell icon, you will instantly be notified when my next video is published. Let me know below what new piece of information you learned from this video. Until next time.